three little letters. Say those letters anywhere and everybody knows what they stand for. The MLS. If I say the MLS, what pops in your mind? Real estate. If you want to look at homes for sale, you look to the MLS first. Well, has the MLS changed over the last decade? And are those changes for better or for worse? Let's talk about those three little letters that control the world of real estate. Hello everyone, Hamp Thomas here, and welcome to Size Matters, the Square Footage Report. So, what is the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service? Well, the answer is really simple. It is the single largest private database in the world. Think about that now. The MLS carries an awesome power over all property values. Now, sometimes we tend to think about the MLS as some separate company, but we have to remember that realtors are the MLS. Now, the people behind the curtain, so to speak, are the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and it's really their ship to steer and guide through what's been lots of changes over the last few decades. But in today's Zillow world, the MLS is continually changing. Now, real estate agents are often so anxious to get online exposure for their listings that they give their listing data away for free to any site that'll publish it. Well, now sites like Zillow get their product for free, which is information, and then they charge those same agents a small fortune to get a listing on their website. So if they want to have an ad beside their own listing, they got to pay big bucks for that. Talk about the perfect business model if you can get it. Get your product for free and then charge the people who give you your product for free large amounts of money, since consumers are often looking to your site first these days. It really is a perfect business model if you can pull it off. It's almost like Walmart getting TVs for free from Sony and then charging Sony a fee to advertise on their website. What a crazy system. So let's talk about one big problem with the MLS. Now, MLS is not one national system, and it used to be over 800 individually owned systems, and I think it's dwindled down to somewhere probably between 500 and 600 now. But in those totally different systems, they all have different rules for reporting property data. You can't get one national system because really no one wants to consolidate. It's all about either money, power, or control, and no one wants to give theirs away. But that does not mean that NAR can't control the way that all members report square footage. Now, one national MLS reporting form would make so much more sense to me and would seem so much more professional. But let's focus just a minute, on my favorite topic here, square footage. Now, we searched through about half of those individual MLS systems and found over 50 different names for what ANSI calls finished square footage, or what appraisers call GLA, or gross living area. Now, in MLS, some realtors separate basement space and some don't. Some agents even include all the square footage. If it's under roof, they include it. Garages, even detached buildings, attics, whatever you can think of. If it's a square footage number, they include that in their square footage total to try to get the biggest number they can. Well, what ends up in the MLS is a hodgepodge of square footage details. And let's say you do a national search for a square footage number with over 50 different names, there's just no way to get a true search by size. It's like flipping a coin on what you're going to get with that search. So why does this really matter? Well, the real estate industry functions on a price per square foot system. It always has. Go into any real estate office and look in the file cabinets. Pull out 3 listing files. What you'll find is a CMA that uses the price per square foot formula to determine the listing price. And it doesn't matter whether, an agent does it or even an online valuation system. I think realtors have the RPR system that they own and operate, and, they all do it the same way. Well, that price per square foot formula only depends on 2 numbers, guys. The sales price, which we know is a recorded fact, and a square footage number. Now, that number can change depending on who's looking for it, and when that number changes, the all-powerful price per square foot number changes. Without having one nationally mandated measurement system for measuring houses, and then agents having so many different names and methods for square footage, there's a very good chance that consumers get cheated daily. I'm sorry to say that, but it's just the facts of life. And we're talking about thousands upon thousands here, guys. It means over and underpriced listings based on something as simple as the wrong square footage number. Now, until the MLS changes and comes up with one language of square footage, consumers are getting the short end, and they're really dependent on the knowledge and probably the integrity of their listing agent. This is not rocket science, it's just simple math. Well, all right, we know there's no national measurement standard, and truthfully, measuring square footage can be hard these days with all these contemporary building styles we've got, and agents are afraid to be responsible for providing that square footage number, and they don't want to take the liability, and I don't blame them. But instead of hiring an appraiser, a lot of them choose that it's just easier and cheaper to take it from the tax records. But they use those tax records knowing full well that the tax department is not responsible for precise square footage, and they never enter any house, which means accurate square footage counts are virtually impossible. And square footage, it's just not the tax department's job. It's the responsibility of the real estate industry. Now, technically, the MLS, it's a data bank. It's a system that keeps records to serve constructive notice of homes for sale by realtor members. And don't forget that all real estate licensees are not realtors. But if the MLS is a data bank, who's in charge of entering all the information? Do the agents take their listing details to an MLS director and have them enter it into the system? No. The MLS data bank is created or built one sale at a time by each listing agent. Now, think about that for a minute. Each sale is put in one at a time by each listing agent. Let's say you get a real estate license. You pay your dues to join the realtors, and for your money, you get full access to the MLS. Okay, you've had your license for 2 weeks, and you get your first listing for your cousin's house, and you're so excited, but you are in charge of adding all the property details to the MLS. Now, your broker in charge might help you, or an office secretary might help you type it in, but you are in charge of getting all those details, which includes a square footage total in the majority of states. Now, how much do you know about square footage? Half a page in pre-licensing is all you get. And now you're a square footage expert. Wow. And the next listing agent might have been in business 47 years and still doesn't understand the need for one of those newfangled smartphones. She's got her brother's house to list, and she told him she'd put it in the MLS for free, and she doesn't want to spend too much time on it. She's just going to enter the required fields. Now, do you think that house is going to get measured? Not likely. The point is that this magical, all-powerful database is built one house at a time, and each listing agent is equally powerful. Brand new agent, seasoned veteran, part-time, or 50 years experience, it doesn't matter. Each agent has the same power in MLS. Well, then when that listing that they have is sold and they enter that much info into the MLS, those details that they report at the sold point turn that sale into the all-important comparable property, or the magic word everybody knows is comp. Well, if those details are inaccurate or are missing, any key details, it'll affect every CMA and appraisal where that house is used as a comp. It can cause flat out wrong real estate values based on the wrong information. And the bottom line here is that this is a very dangerous system, and no one's really talking about how to make it better. Now, back in 1950, every real estate measured every home that they listed for sale. It was just a normal part of the job, and it was also part of that 6% commission fee. Well, it was their job to make sure the square footage details were accurate. If they didn't know how to measure, they got someone at their office to help them. And well, then along came the 1990s and that internet explosion, and every agent had access to tax records and a free square footage number, and it was like a gift from the heavens fell down. So if that old MLS system was more of a true database built by agents that accepted the responsibility for those property details that they entered into the MLS, and really the MLS was like the Bible of real estate. Realtors were the source of all the data. But this new MLS is more of a marketing tool, and the source of data is way too often the local tax department, who has no responsibility for getting the details right. And even most agents aren't taught why this information is so important to consumer protection, and they spend time learning, about social networking and advertising, and it's really all about technology, and the details of the house just aren't that important anymore. When a consumer reaches out to a real estate agent, they're talking about their single largest lifetime investment, and then their agent is going to trust the local tax department for the real property details, which have about an 80 to 85% chance of being wrong, and wrong enough to impact the home's value. So consumers lose money every single day based on something as simple as a square footage account and that all-powerful price per square foot formula that the real estate industry thrives on. There really needs to be a nationally mandated measurement standard. I've been saying that for the last 10 years. And there needs to be one nationally mandated MLS reporting form with one language for square footage, not 50 different names. The real estate experts need to get back to being responsible for the MLS and the details, and it's their database. Think about this. The MLS was the greatest invention ever of the NAR. That the MLS, no doubt, was the National Association of Realtors' greatest invention ever. But this private database carries more power than any other real estate information source, and realtors are the MLS. They need to use it wisely, or the new MLS may end up starting with the letter Z. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.